as tonight's snarl continues. Up next, it'll be Big Bob Duncum of the Unholy Trinity in a non-title match with Mid-South champion Billy White Moon of Best of the West.
Like a real old-timey Western showdown.
This next non-title contest is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, representing the Unholy Trinity from Austin, Texas, weighing 286 pounds, here is Big Bob Duncum.
All right, Bobby Duncum comes into this one hot off a win in his last match, and he is all set to go against Billy White Moon in this non-title scrap, and you can best believe that if Bobby Duncum can score a pinfall or a submission over the Mid-South champion, that's gonna mean a title shot for him.
And doing this one all by himself, with no Dutch Mantle or primetime Bobby Mills backing him up. Is that courage or overconfidence on Duncum's part? Because I can't be sure. Either way, Bob Duncum isn't shy about fighting dirty. Billy White Moon will have to stay on all 10 toes, even in this non-title matchup.
Well, White Moon's definitely gonna be a favorite here. Did you hear the boos coming out of there for Big Bob Duncum?
You gotta be stone deaf to miss it. His opponent, accompanied by Jim Dandy Deakins from Norman, Oklahoma, weighing 245 pounds, is the reigning WL Mid-South champion, Billy White Moon. One of the most popular Mid-South champions we've ever had, Billy White Moon, and his Best of the West cohorts, Tex McKenzie and Jim Dandy, have made quite the name for themselves over the last year or so. But things really heated up for White Moon after gaining the Mid-South belt from Tito Santana. He's outsized and outweighed by Bob Duncum, but White Moon hits hard and fast. If he can keep Duncum guessing as to what his next move might be, this could be an easy one for the Mid-South champion.
That's a whole lot of ifs, Johnny. All right, Walt Rothburn rings the bell. Here we go. Duncum charges, swings and misses with the clothesline. Wrap around DDT from Billy White Moon. White Moon misses with the stomp. Duncum rolls back into the ring. Fails to connect with a grapple and a kick and winds up catching a drop toe hold draped on the middle rope. Billy White Moon gonna drive his knee right into the back of Big Bob Duncum, and down he goes. White Moon going for an immediate cover here. One. Man. But only a one. Bobby Duncum still way too fresh. A hard shot. Takes Duncum down to the canvas again. Duncum counters with a right, gets back up on his feet, delivers a stomp to the back of Billy White Moon. White Moon rounded up, catches a kick to the back, gets back up, charges clothesline over the top rope, out onto the floor. Goes Big Bob Duncum, and he hurt his back on that one. White Moon slides on out. The referee's already counting. Here we go. Drives a knee into the midsection of Duncum, follows it up with a kick. Billy White Moon rounds up Duncum. Oh, hard series of shots takes Duncum down to the floor. White Moon rounds him up over the shoulder. Beautiful scoop slam. As the ref's count continues, another kick to the back of Bobby Duncum. He makes his way back into the ring. They both do. Spun around by White Moon, whipped into the corner, double knees into the back of Big Bob Duncum. White Moon going for another cover. One. And again, just the one. Bobby Duncum. It's going to take a little while and a lot of effort to soften him up. White Moon stretching the arm of Big Bob Duncum. And I mean stretching it. Oh man, Bobby Duncum trying to fight his way out, but so far no good luck. Billy White Moon has it locked in pretty good. All right, he releases the hold, slams the arm to the canvas. Duncum counters with a leg sweep. White Moon rolls out to the floor. Here comes Bobby Duncum in hot pursuit. Countered by Billy White Moon. Duncum counters White Moon. Slides himself back into the ring. Here comes White Moon after him. Into a dragon sleeper. Grabs the leg dragon screw to Bobby Duncum. A hard right across the head, a knee to the face. A stomp to the midsection. As Jim Dandy Deakins looks on, cheering his tag team partner on. Inverted dragon sleeper here. White Moon lets the hold go. And now he's just trash talking Big Bob Duncum. The Mid-South champ winds up the arms on Bobby Duncum and snaps it, throws the switch. And both of Bobby Duncum's arms are hurting right about now. Duncum, with a back body drop on White Moon, delivers a kick to the chest. Follows it up with a stomp to the shoulder. Big Bob Duncum showing the fans that he is all right. So far, so good. Well, I don't know about that, but White Moon counters with a hard left. And there's a wraparound DDT again as Bobby Duncum makes his way to the apron. Gets himself standing on up. Billy White Moon right there waiting for him. There's a hard right that puts him out onto the floor. Oh, man. Referee already counting again. There we go. White Moon into the war dance as he makes his way out to the floor to go after Big Bob Duncum. Duncum counters with a kick to the midsection. Tags White Moon with a couple of rights and a kick to the midsection. White Moon puts on the brakes, delivers a clothesline, puts Duncum on the floor again. A gouge of the eyes. And Duncum's back in the ring again. White Moon grabs a hold of him, hangs him up off the top rope, makes his way back inside. A chop across the chest. And here it is. Boom! Hard right. And Bobby Duncum has taken quite a shot right there. Billy White Moon rounds up a stunned Bobby Duncum. Goes for the cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, well, almost a 2. It's like a 1.9, give or take. Billy White Moon now stalking Big Bob Duncum. Oh, man. White Moon looking pretty good. There it is, the Indian sleeper. And Duncum quickly finding his way out of trouble somehow. Don't ask me how. But White Moon drags him center, covers the leg, hooks the leg again. 1, 2, almost a 2.5, but Duncum got that right shoulder up. No use arguing with the referee, Billy. He was right. Billy White Moon rallying the fans for a little support here as Duncum delivers a back body drop to Billy White Moon. White Moon gathered up, winds up the arm, shoulder tackle, takes Duncum down to the canvas. Bobby Duncum sets him up, Michinoku driver. Big Bob Duncum trying to regain control of things here from Billy White Moon. White Moon struggles to his feet, nails him with a right. Bobby Duncum tussles with White Moon, shoves him away. He's got White Moon up over the shoulders. See where this is going. Another Michinoku driver, this time with a pin. 1, 2, but only a 2. Billy White Moon powering out with the greatest of ease. Duncum whips him out over onto the apron, and a shoulder tackle takes him down to the floor. Jim Dandy Deakins assisting his tag team partner back up to a standing position as Big Bob Duncum takes a little breath for himself. Moves on out to the outside, delivers a kick to the midsection. White Moon counters with a hard right, a kick. Billy White Moon countered by Duncum. They collide with no result. They make their way back inside the ring. Here we go again. Up over the shoulders goes Big Bob Duncum. And slam down backbreaker. And oh man, White Moon doing the war dance again, delivers a stomp to the back. Rounds up Big Bob Duncum. A clothesline. A second one. Swinging a miss from Duncum and a kick from Billy White Moon that takes Duncum down to the canvas. He rounds him up again. Winds it up. Boom. There's that hard right from Billy White Moon. Here's a cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2, and another near fall. Shut up. Billy White Moon. Can't believe it, but Bobby Duncum is still not ready to concede here. Winds up the arm. Clothesline. Takes White Moon down to the canvas. Duncum counters with a kick to the leg. A knee to the face to Bobby Duncum, and here's another cover. 1, 2, 3, and that is it. Billy White Moon puts out the lights on Big Bob Duncum for the win.
The time, 6 minutes and 59 seconds. Your winner by pinfall, Billy White Moon.
That was a fast-paced and frenetic matchup with a whole lot of momentum shift back and forth. But Billy White Moon winds up getting the Duke over Big Bob Duncum in this one.
Well, it sure wasn't for lack of trying on Big Bob Duncum's part. The men competed like this actually were a title match. But like I said, White Moon kept it moving, hitting Duncum high and low, kept him guessing, and finally put out Duncum's lights with that last driving knee to the head. Wonder if he's even woken up yet. A solid win for White Moon of Best of the West.
The Mid-South champion just had his medal tested by Duncum for sure, and Duncum came close a couple of times. But it just wasn't good enough against White Moon, who was clearly performing at optimum levels tonight. I'm sure that he, Jim Dandy, and Tex McKenzie will be celebrating this win later tonight over a few cold ones. Pretty wild matchup between these two.
Most definitely, and I'm sure they will be celebrating it tonight. Well, there you have it. Billy White Moon victorious over Big Bob Duncum, and we still got a whole lot more RWL Snarl coming up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after the break with a whole lot more.